Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Gravekeeper deck profile update. So this deck is a really fun deck that basically revolves around shutting your opponent's graveyard down to, well, keep their grave. And it's a really easy deck to play around with that actually got support in Soul Fusion with the new copy of the Supernaturalist and a couple of the Spiritualists and a couple of other cards that are in the main deck. So without further ado guys, let's get straight on into this and see what I'm playing. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this. So this deck is a really fun deck, like I said, and the artwork is just gorgeous to be able to play these Egyptian cards. Like, it kind of throws back to the original series where you're playing around with, like, Egyptian cards. And it's one of the oldest archetypes that we actually have in the entire game, which is pretty cool. So we're going to be playing, first off, 3 copies of Gravekeeper's Spiritualist. Basically, what this card does is it's a polymerization. Because during your main phase of Necro Valleys on the field, you can fusion summon one spellcaster fusion monster from your deck. Using this card, you control and other monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials, which is kind of cool. It's just kind of a really balanced walking polymerization. Then we play 3 copies of Gravekeeper Commandant. Gravekeeper Commandant, basically you just discard this card to get to Necro Valley. With this card and Terraforming, you're essentially playing 8 copies of Necro Valley in the deck, and you're going to get to Necro Valley in the first turn. Then I play 3 copies of Gravekeeper Spy. Gravekeeper Spy's effect is when it's flip face up, you get to special summon a Gravekeeper monster with 1500 attack or less from your deck, which can be another copy of Gravekeeper Spy, and it doesn't specify position, so you can just special summon it in defense position, which is pretty cool. And when Gravekeeper, or when Necro Valley's on the field, it makes all of your Gravekeeper monsters gain 500 attack, so it goes up to 2500 defense, which is really big. Then I play 3 copies of Gravekeeper's Recruiter. Gravekeeper's Recruiter, it's a really good card. I thought about bumping it down to 2 in this deck to get this deck down to 40 cards, because this is a 41 card deck that I'm playing around with. But Gravekeeper's Recruiter, basically, when this card you control is sent to the graveyard, you get to add another Gravekeeper monster with 1500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, which can really help out quite a lot. But I don't use that. I feel like Spy is better than Recruiter, in my opinion. Then I play 3 copies of Gravekeeper's Headman. Gravekeeper's Headman is really good. If this card is summoned, you get to target a level 4 or Gravekeeper monster in your grave and special summon it in attack position or defense, face down defense position. Usually you're going to target Spy, put it face down, or target Spiritualist to go into a fusion play, or just special summon any of them to link them away to summon something else. Then for the 1 of Gravekeepers, I play 1 copy of Descendant. Basically, this is like Hand of the Six Samurai, if you guys are familiar with that. But basically, you contribute a Gravekeeper monster, target a card your opponent controls, and destroy it. And then I play 1 copy of Assailant. Assailant, when it declares an attack while Necro Valley is on the field, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls and change that target's battle position, which is pretty cool. 1 copy of Shaman. I actually put Shaman in here because it protects Necro Valley, and you can special summon it off of Spy, and if you use it for fusion material for Supernaturalist, it gets really big really quick, which can be really helpful. Then I play 1 copy of Oracle. Some people have been really recommending to me on my previous deck profiles to play Oracle, and I started testing around with it, and I actually like it. I actually like 1 copy of Oracle because it can make your Gravekeeper Supernaturalist gain 200 attack for each, or 100 attack for each level, and this card is a level 10, and if you use this and Spiritualist, it's going to gain 1400 attack, and it's going to come out at 34, which is going to be big, plus the Gravekeeper or Necro Valley on the field, it goes to 39, so it almost comes out at 4k, which is humongous, and I love that it comes out that big, which is just amazing. Then I play 3 copies of Ash Blossom as well. Ash Blossom helps out to be able to stop our opponents from doing things, so Ash Blossom's a really good card in this deck. So that's it for the main deck monsters, guys. The other cool thing that I really quickly want to mention about the Gravekeeper's Oracle is you can summon this card by either attributing 3 cards or attributing 1 Gravekeeper and then apply the effects in sequence. So it either gains attack equals to the combined level of all monsters attributed for this card's tribute summon, destroy all set monsters your opponent controls, or destroys all monsters your opponent currently control, or all monsters your opponent currently control lose 2000 attack and defense. And it's pretty easy to get 3 Gravekeepers on the field if you want to go that route and tribute summon for that, and then fusion summon away for Supernaturalist, if you want to go that route. But I don't ever really recommend summoning it in its conventional means. And it's searchable off of Recruiter, so that's another thing. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, I'm going to be playing one little tech choice of mine that I'm going to not reveal right off the bat. I'm going to get you guys to guess what it is. So comment down below, tell me what you think it is, and I'll show you guys what it is in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So there's one copy of Double or Nothing. So this deck really doesn't get, like, besides Supernaturalist, this deck doesn't really get big attack points. And you really want to catch your opponent off guard with having a really big Utopia double in your extra deck to be able to just OTK your opponent off of just right off the bat with a Double or Nothing. And it's really easy, like I said, to get 2 Gravekeepers out on the field. If you just flip face up Spy and then special summon one with 1500 or less attack or defense, or I think it's attack, you special summon off Assailant or Descendant, and then overlay them both into Utopia double, add this to your hand, go into Utopia, attack for 10k, and win. Then we play 2 copies of Terraforming to search out our copies of Necro Valley. Necro Valley is really easy to search out in this deck, because like I said, with this and the 3 copies of Necro Valley itself, and then on top of that, the 3 copies of Command It, you're going to draw Necro Valley 9 times out of 10, because you're going to have 8 copies of it, and you're going to draw 5 in the beginning. Then we play 1 copy of Gravekeeper Steel. Gravekeeper Steel is you get to target 2 Gravekeepers in your graveyard and add those targets back to your hand, and this card is not negated by the effects of Necro Valley. Then Royal Tribute. Royal Tribute is the best card in the deck, hands down. If you control Necro Valley, both players discard any monsters in their hands. All monsters in their hands, which is just amazing. Like, this card, I'm so glad it's still at 1, but I could see it coming back to 3 to give this deck a little bit of a boost, and it being its one, like, big card. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of other decks would be playing this card in, you know, everything. With Gravekeepers. And then I play 1 copy of Hidden Temples of Necro Valley. You get to activate only, you can only activate this card if you control a Gravekeeper monster and Necro Valley, and then neither player can special summon monsters except Gravekeeper monsters, and if either a Gravekeeper monster or Necro Valley is not on the field, destroy this card. It's a really good card to play as a 1 of, and yeah, I never would probably play it at more than 1. I might play it at 2, maybe 2. Then I play 3 copies of Necro Valley Throne. You either get to add a Gravekeeper monster from your deck to your hand, or immediately after this card resolves, normal summon a Gravekeeper monster. So it's pretty much like emergency call in a way for Gravekeepers, which is really, really helpful. Then I play 3 copies of Necro Valley. You have to play 3 copies of Necro Valley. Basically, this shuts down your opponent's graveyard, which cards in either player's graveyard cannot be banished, and negate any card effect that would move a card in the graveyard other than itself to a different place. Which is really cool, and I love that effect about this card. It's just such a good card. It's one of the OG spell cards, or OG, like, original, I don't even know, like, original field spells that actually were good in the original game, and dual monsters. Then we played 3 copies of Allure of Darkness for the final 3 spells, because everything just about is dark except for Commandant. For some reason, I don't understand why Commandant's Earth type and the rest of them are, like, dark. I feel like that's weird. But we play 3 allures because it's easy to draw off of this card and really easy to get what you need when you need it. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. There is another variant of this deck where you can play Card of Demise, but I'm just not a fan of Card of Demise in this deck. Like, then you only play like 6 to 9 monsters in the deck, and then everything else is spells and traps, and like, it's not fun for me. I like playing high monster counts. Then I play 2 copies of Imperial Tomb of Necro Valley and 2 copies of Necro Valley Temple. Basically, these cards are the only traps you need. Imperial Tomb is kind of like Infernity Barrier. When a spell trap or monster effect is activated while both Gravekeepers and Necro Valleys are on the field, negate the activation if you do destroy it. And then Necro Valley Temple is when a Gravekeeper monster and Necro Valley are both on the field. All monsters your opponent control lose 500 attack, and then once per turn during your main phase, if you control no other cards in your field spell zone, you can activate a Necro Valley directly from your hand or grave. And this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, and sent to the grave, you can set a Necro Valley spell or trap directly from your deck. So this card is an MVP trap card, in my opinion. This one is, because you can search, and it does everything you need it to do. It keeps Necro Valley on the field, it makes your opponent lose 500 attack, So it puts a gap of 1,000 between yours and your opponent's monsters, which is really big and really helpful with Necro Valley Temple, because you're going to have Necro Valley and this on the field all at the same time and be able to get all sorts of different plays. And it brings your Supernaturalist out. If you use Oracle and the Spiritualist, it goes up to 50, goes up to 34 on Summon, and then Necro Valley makes it go up to 39, and then this puts a gap of 500, so it's essentially at 44 on Summon, battling your opponent's monsters, which can be really big and really devastating to your opponent. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So we're going to be playing 2 copies of Supernaturalist. Supernaturalist is the boss monster of the deck. It's really important to be able to play at least 2 of this card. But it takes 2 Gravekeeper's monsters to summon this card, and then it gains 100 attack for each level of the monster that was used to fusion summon this card. And then while Necro Valley is on the field, and any card in your field spell zone cannot be destroyed by card effects, and during your main phase you can activate this card effect. During the end phase of the turn, add a Gravekeeper monster or Necro Valley card from your deck to your hand. I normally search, if I don't already have Necro Valley on the field, I normally search Temple pretty quickly to get that gap, like I said, to my hand. But I really wish this was like once per turn you could do it, instead of during the end phase and having that Scarm effect, but I understand why. Then I play a Boral Load just to take my opponent's monsters. Boral Sword to OTK my opponent. Mech Knight Crusadia, Avermax. I feel like this is going to become pretty generic to play this card in extra decks. But it's a really good card. Unicorn to bounce stuff my opponent controls. 1 copy of Phoenix just to pop spells and traps I need off the field. Cerberus to pop monsters that I don't want on the field. Double Wee Witch Apprentice, because like I said before, just about everything in the extra deck is dark. If you get this and you get the other ones, it puts a 1,500 gap in between yours and your opponent's monsters, so essentially pushes Spiritualist up to 49, which is a big. And that's crazy that this deck can make something that big, because that's what it was really needing, is a big monster. Then I play Baguska just to stall out my opponent if I need to. Exciton Knight to blow board if I need to. The Phantom Knight's a break sword because we do play level 3s in this deck, and it can come up sometimes, but it doesn't come up all the time. Utopia and Utopia double for the 10k swing at our opponent. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a really fun deck. It's a good deck, and it's one of the oldest decks that we have in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, seriously, one of the oldest decks that we have in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because this came out in Pharaonic Guardian back in, I think, 04 originally, and this deck has been around for, like, legit, like, 15 years. So, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think. I think it came out in 04. It might have been 03. But anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below. I really enjoy playing this deck. I really enjoy profiling this deck, and I want to hear from you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.